Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of the Andor Watch Party and After Show. We're on episode 6, I believe. At this point, 2 after shows, getting a little confusing. We got a lot going on. So before we get into anything else, let me introduce this guy to my right.
Once again, it is me, the J to the E to the double F free. I'm Jeffrey Harris, and welcome back to the MUSE TV Watch Party and After Show for Andor of Star Wars tonight on Disney Plus. So, I guess this week will be the last time we have 2 premieres in a week because tonight is Andor and tomorrow we'll be wrapping up She-Hulk, but we'll still have more Andor for the rest of the season. Because
Yes.
after tonight, we'll only be at midway point for this season.
Yeah.
Elsewhere,
a lot easier on both of us. It's been really busy for everybody who's watching. It's been really busy. A lot of movies coming out. A lot of big movies are coming out right now.
And we're coming up on that. We're coming up on Oscar season where studios and smaller companies will be releasing their Oscar hopefuls. So that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
For award season. So things are going to be, in some ways, things will be getting even busier. But yes.
But it's a good thing.
All right. So, Andor is moving along. They cut things off just before they started their raid on the Aldhani base. So they're ready to do the raid. They have that one Imperial dissident in their pocket. Andor kind of showed his cards about who he was, just because there was suspicion among the group, and he went along with it. Luthen's back at Coruscant, kind of like being the worrywart over this whole operation. Just one mistake could mean, certain doom for everyone. And then we have Mon Mothma in Coruscant. Her daughter is a total brat. Has no respect for her. Her husband is
a douche.
Yep. Her husband looks like he would sell her out to the Empire if given the chance.
Oh, I think without a heartbeat.
Man, the husband's a real piece of work. I kind of feel really bad for Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Right now. And then we have so we have the Corpo guy, what was his name? Cyril? Was it Cyril?
Yes.
Cyril Karn moved back in with his mother, and his mother's trying to
the other
plan out his career while Cyril is still stewing over wanting to get back at Andor, I suppose. So Cyril is still obsessed with getting Andor, who spared his life, by the way.
Yep.
But we have a lot going on, and then we have the other Imperials in Coruscant for the ISB, Dedra Miro, who is looking into
the way the movement is for the rebels.
Okay, so she's basically uncovered, the rebel activity. So she has basically uncovered that there is some sort of rebellion at work while her superiors doubt her findings. Yes. So she is basically trying to blow the lid on the rebellion and move up in her career. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters, a lot of subplots. And at the heart of it, we have Andor, who has this uneasy alliance with the parties, with these rebels. Some of them are likely going to die. I think that kid is going to die, don't you think?
What gives you that impression?
All the death flags in the last episode.
Yeah.
Plus he's like not an inexperienced soldier either. But I don't know. Maybe we'll be surprised with some of the survivors. But who do you the leader of that group? I forget all their names.
Which one? The girl?
Like who was the girl? Who was the girl taking orders from? Luthen. She's the only one who can be traced back to Luthen, but we don't know what their relation or connection is. I'm thinking like they're in-laws or something. Like maybe
could be, or part of the cause, part of the what's to become the rebels.
But so Luthen, she is the only one who knows Luthen, or knows of Luthen.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Skeeve.
Yeah.
Skeeve or something. It's hard to remember all these unique names, you know? But chances are tonight's episode is going to be a big action heavy episode because they're kind of going in these 3-episode arcs right now.
Yep.
So I'm expecting a lot of action tonight. Maybe it won't be a long episode, but it will be an action heavy episode. What do you think?
I think so. And I'm hoping it is. It'll be good. We need a good long episode right now. And we need them to attack the base. That's my thing. Is like we need them to attack.
We know they have to do something there because they were about to do it last episode, and they kind of ended it right before.
And then that would just turn into a Lord of the Rings. You know the joke on Clerks 2, that they're just walking, drop the ring, say
And now you're complaining about the show. Last week you were all about it.
Well, if it pays off the way it does, I'm going to be very, very happy.
Well, I think they will pay off because, similar to episode 3, and I think that's just how they're pacing this show out. They do a couple plot heavy, a lot of talking heads, intrigue and drama, and then they rip the Band-Aid off in that 3rd episode. That seems to be the general direction they've gone so far, and I think they're going, if what we think happens tonight happens, I think that's the direction they're going to maintain for the rest of the season, but we shall see.
Exactly. But I so far I do like the show. Don't get me wrong.
I'm hoping we'll at least get K2SO by the end of the season, or maybe they're holding off on that until the next 12 episodes, but we'll see.
And that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking the next 12 episodes is where we're going to see it. I don't think we're going to see K2SO until.
Okay. So news-wise, we had a lot of chess moves.
What gives you that idea?
Well, a lot has been shaken up today.
Yep.
So, first order of business, Blade, Marvel's Blade reboot, and I can send you the link. This is from originally from the Hollywood Reporter. So Blade has been delayed. Not only has production been delayed, but the release date has been delayed. So the movie was supposed to start shooting in Atlanta, Georgia, basically, I think in November, for like a fall November 2023 release. So that's off the table now. Now it's been moved to, let's see,
2024, isn't it? Or
so now September 6th, 2024. Why does that release date sound familiar? That was Deadpool 3's release date.
Yep.
So now Deadpool 3 gets a November 2024 release date, and this is going to be a bit confusing, folks. So what happened a couple weeks ago, Blade lost its director. Let's see.
It may be for good reason too.
Well, we don't know all the. Bassam Tariq, he left the production, so the movie was without a director just a couple months before it was supposed to start shooting. So Marvel is pushing the release date back and pushing back the production start as they look to, I guess, coalesce certain elements and find a new director. So that's going to be a bit challenging, but here's what I do have to say. I think this is a good move. I'm glad they didn't try to, without a director this close, they didn't try to just rush it forward. Take more time, find the right director, take your time to find the right director, polish and hone the story. Just take some time, let things breathe, and find someone you know is going to do a good job and has their heart in it. Ideally, hopefully. Now, I don't know about Marvel doing a Blade reboot. I like the old movies with Wesley Snipes, except for Blade Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know like what an MCU Blade reboot looks like, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they got away with a lot with Werewolf by Night, which I assume you watched by now. Right?
Yes, I did.
But I think that's more because, one, it was in black and white. Two, it was on a premium streaming platform. Mm-hmm. And it was TV 14, so that's probably a bit different than a TV PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
It's what they get one more year on it. So that's Blade. But that is only the tip of the Marvel release date shuffle iceberg, because what else do we have? So we have Blade and Deadpool. Deadpool's now in November 2024. And now the Avengers, the two Avengers movies are being shifted around, and Fantastic Four. So let's see. Blade goes from November 2023 to September 2024. Deadpool goes from September 2024 to November 2024. Fantastic Four goes from November in 2024 to February 2025. So that whole plan where they were going to release two Avengers movies in 2025, 6 months apart, is off. So Avengers Secret Wars now moves from November 7th, 2025 to May 1st, 2026. So what they were going to do is Avengers Kang Dynasty in May 2025 and Secret Wars in November 2025. So now it's Kang Dynasty in May 2025 and Secret Wars in May 2026. Thank God.
Yeah.
I think I got, look, you can't do two Avengers movies 6 months apart. It's not a good idea, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one.
It is too much.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back to Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, because that kind of set this kind of like double sequel kind of style, other than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like the Lord of the Rings, you know, when, you know, shooting 3 movies at once, we got 1 movie a year, right?
Right.
They waited a year, and that worked for that franchise. The Matrix films they were more, it was more like what, 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months.
And I think that hurt both of those movies.
I think it did. I think it really did.
I think for Avengers, you don't want to do 2 Avengers movies in the same year. You can do multiple Marvel event films in the same year, but I think 2 Avengers movies just 6 months apart is just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So make people wait a little bit more, make them want it a little bit more, give it room to breathe. Because if it's 6 months, you risk one movie cannibalizing the other. And it probably gives just the teams a little more time to refine things. Or at least I hope so. But what do you think?
I agree with you. I think that the 2 Avengers movies were too close. My biggest thing is burnout. I think a year space doesn't burn anybody out. And it builds anticipation. 6 months seems kind of too close.
So right. And we're still getting Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four has been moved a few months. It's gone from November to February.
And in many ways, I think this may have been a blessing in disguise.
I think so, and I think the same for Blade because again, it was supposed to start shooting like next month, and
Yeah.
they don't have a director. So let's say they find a director. Well, oh my God, he's got to start shooting this movie in just like a few weeks. That's like no time at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look, I think is it Mahershala Ali?
Yes.
He's a fantastic actor, and I think he could do a good job as Blade. But yeah,
Well, I mean,
you don't want to rush things like this.
and you
Really.
know what's been the word out is that he was the one who was kind of like really upset with the script, because I think he's the one who. It sounds like we don't know the actual truth of what's going on, but from what reports are saying is that he's the one who's like, if we're gonna make a Blade film, it has to be better than
Okay,
what
well,
is.
the Hollywood Reporter did not say anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They did say it underwent several rounds of script rewrites. Bo DeMeo is the current writer, and it says by the same occasion, the studio thought it should take the time to coalesce other aspects of the feature project. They want to really get it right, says one source. So I don't think I mean, honestly, on its face, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think it's a good thing. And I wish more productions would do that, where they say, like, hey, we're going to take a step back. We don't like the script. Let's make this good. Because I'd rather have a good film than them just put it out there. Put it out there.
Yeah, I would not mind more delays if it means just bettering things overall. Same thing with like a video game. Like, because we've seen it all the time with major AAA game releases, they're rushed to the shelves and released before they're ready with all sorts of bugs or you know, lack of polish, and it just doesn't look good, or they're unplayable, and you feel like you wasted your money on this brand new game that's like the best, has the biggest budget ever, or it's supposed to be like the best money can buy, but it's like a ripoff.
Yeah.
What else happened?
Disneyland ticket prices went up. It's going to cost you more to go to Galaxy's Edge.
Everything is going up. Have you seen gas prices lately?
But dude,
we're getting the worst of it right now.
But dude, $179 for a premiere day to go to one park. No park hopper. One park.
I mean, the best thing don't pay it, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like people are still going to pay it.
I mean, you have to make it. You have to put your foot down at some point, you know? I mean, I love Disney and I want to go to Disney parks and enjoy the parks too, but like, you know, money, you know, I'm not made of money, you know?
Yeah. And here's the thing.
It's nothing personal.
And here's what I've seen just off of this weekend, because we were at Fright Fest at Magic Mountain on Friday, and it's empty. Completely empty. And Fright Fest doesn't have a separate ticket. If you went to the park that day, you get to stay for the Halloween event.
Here's my question. Do prices ever go down, or is it just always a steady increase, a steady growth?
They do go down if people aren't going to the parks.
I mean, then again, if people if people don't pay, I mean, look, you have to put your foot down at some point. You know, you have to.
And here's my thing.
Okay.
Like, if they're raising prices, I want to see new attractions, new rides on that park kept up to the standards that it should be for that price. It'd be different. And it'll be hard to go against it if you get a new ride every year. Or every other year there's a new attraction.
Is the park in bad shape right now?
There's some animatronics that aren't working correctly. The park has been in a little bit of disarray. Like, they haven't kept it up. There's things, and the food, in order to order food, has been terrible, because you got to they have the app still, and then they have this, and then they have the having to click on a reservation date on when you could go. You can't just go willy-nilly. So it's like, what's the point? Oh, and it's crowded. It is super crowded. The day that I went for that premiere, it was so crowded you couldn't even get on any of the rides. We got on two.
Again, if you're unhappy with the prices, you should just not pay them for right now, Mike.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to the parks, and I do have a free ticket still that I could use, but I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay that much for Disneyland. There's a new attraction.
A couple more news updates. So Dune Part 2, which is what it's being called for right now. So now that Blade is moved from November 2023, Dune Part 2 got moved up 2 weeks from November 17th to November 3rd, 2023. Dune Part 2 is filming right now. Denis Villeneuve is back to direct. We have Christopher Walken as the Emperor, not Emperor Palpatine, Emperor Shaddam IV. We have Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan. Austin Butler is Fade Rotha, one of the Harkonnens. He is Baron Harkonnen's nephew. Stellan Skarsgård. And then we also have Timothy Chalamet back as Paul. Rebecca Ferguson as Jessica. Zendaya as Chani. Josh Brolin as Stilgar. And so Dune is my favorite book of all time. I was fairly satisfied with the movie. I had various issues with it, but I was overall satisfied with what they did. So we're still getting Dune. I hope they don't release it day and date because that was ridiculous.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I really hope they don't. And that whole day and date strategy last year was a disaster.
Yeah.
It never should have happened. And they should have at least changed it for some of those movies, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think under the new regime and under this new ownership or management, it ain't going to happen. It's going to be theaters because they need to recoup that money as soon as possible.
Good luck with that, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's so this was I don't think we talked about it last week, but the other big Marvel news was Armor Wars with Don Cheadle is now being revamped as a movie.
Yeah.
What was originally going to be another Disney Plus miniseries is now going to be a big screen theatrical movie. So what do you think about that?
I think it fits for what it is, and I don't know how they're going to do Armor Wars in this version of the MCU.
Well, it's going to be about Don Cheadle as War Machine rather than Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure Riri Williams will be in it. Ironheart.
Yeah. So I think something's going to happen where I'm guessing Sharon or whoever is posing as Sharon Carter right now will somehow. Now, this is just my theory.
Yeah.
Everyone's got
disclaimer.
Someone's gonna steal Tony's armor designs and put them out in the open on the black market. So, since Tony's dead, Rhodey is going to take it upon himself to protect Tony's legacy. Like, Tony's gone. I have to do this. I have to protect his creation. I have to make sure his armor hasn't fallen into the wrong hands. And I don't care who gets in my way to stop it. Because that's kind of like what Armor Wars was. It was like Tony kind of going a bit too far because he started targeting like heroes who had armor with similar schematics as him. So I hope they maintain that aspect from the comic, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work though. It's going to be a movie now. So I hope since it's going to be a movie, like they spring for the, budget,
Yeah,
to make all the armors look cool and everything. And we get some
I
cool
agree.
armored villains.
I agree. Because the CGI hasn't been good in some of the shows, so at least if they put it towards the movie, hopefully they get a bigger budget to make
Yeah,
sure.
because I think if you're gonna do something like with all those armored heroes and villains, you need to have a big screen budget
Mhm.
because you can see the difference. I think it would be a good way to bring back Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'd love to see Sam Rockwell back in the MCU.
So we have not seen him since Iron Man 2, which came out 12 years ago.
Yeah,
How does that make you feel?
sad because I actually like Sam Rock. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan.
I feel
I,
like I
I love
probably
Sam Rockwell.
were you working in Los Angeles around that time?
Around what time? What?
Like 2010.
Oh yeah,
Because I
not.
feel like
I
I
mean,
was seeing you
there
at
was no Muse. Muse wasn't even.
right. But I feel like I was seeing you around at things before I really got to know you.
Yeah, I would be at certain things like
Yeah.
show up and stuff, but no, I wasn't working at. It was kind of like in the infancy of Muse.
Okay.
I guess that's what you could call it.
Now I remember one of the publicity contacts at Paramount is now like a director. He's directing the Haunted Mansion for Disney.
Oh, is he?
That guy, he used to be the publicity rep who would get me into screenings at Paramount.
Are you serious? The guy who used to work at Disneyland?
Is that
Sheesh.
Justin Simeon?
Yeah.
Do y'all always get him? I do not, Sladro.
For this, to be honest, Ladro, this is the first year I've actually been invited to more premieres than I ever have throughout the 10 years of Muse.
And truthfully, most of the time I'd probably rather go to like a media screening instead of a premiere because the premieres can just get really hectic and just overwhelming.
Yeah. But to be honest, I kind of like going to the Star Wars ones. There's select ones I like going to because sometimes there's people that I know who are in the film.
And if it's like going to be at the TCL, like they'll give you like refreshments and stuff usually.
Yeah. And I just like every so often it's kind of cool because especially for me, like coming up, seeing all these premieres growing up in LA, you always wish you could ever go.
But I kind of like the experience where I can go to like today I was at Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, and I get to like actually see it on the lot, like where it gets, where it gets.
And that's cool. That is cool. And we've been able to do that. I've been able to do that as well, where you get to walk in the footsteps of where Walt Disney had to walk.
Exactly.
That is, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize is probably the most special thing and the most amazing thing we get to do.
Now, before the pandemic, Disney would have quite a few screenings on the lot, and they would usually do it in their bigger auditorium. And those I tend to like and enjoy a lot, especially more because it's way more comfortable than the El Capitan Theater. I mean, like El Capitan's a very nice theater, but it's not the most comfortable of theaters. So I just really enjoy that environment. I'm also close to Disney, so it's a very quick drive. But that's like an experience I probably prefer over like a world premiere.
Have you ever seen a movie inside Walt Disney's private screening room at Walt Disney Studios?
I don't know which one is his private screening room. So
that is the one on the second floor of the animation building.
I have, but it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah,
I have been in the animation. I have seen a screening in the animation, but it's been a long time.
Yeah,
man, it's been
same here. But that was kind of cool, like to sit in the same theater that Walt Disney sit.
Yes.
That was kind of that was cool. That was definitely.
I remember there might have been another one I'm forgetting, but there was Princess and the Frog in the animation building, and I don't know if this was Walt's screening room. And I remember they served like treats and beignets and stuff after that. This was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But I love that movie, Princess and the Frog, by the way, and I just feel like it's very underrated.
Yeah, there's a lot of Disney movies that are underrated.
Yeah,
that I love. But yeah, to be honest, Ladro, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's
me
the
and
best.
Me and Jeffrey are one of the few that don't take this for granted because we know it's special.
It's the best. It's my favorite part of the job. It's the best. I think it's the best part of the job when we get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah,
but getting to do it on the Disney lot, I think, is probably my favorite because I've done the Universal lot, I've done the Warner Brothers lot, and yeah, I would say Disney is my favorite.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers lot I've done. I've never done the Universal lot,
and I've done Fox too.
Yeah, I've never done the Universal.
Fox has a couple theaters over there, but Fox is owned by Disney now.
Yeah, I've been on the Fox lot. I've been on Sony's lot. And seen something on Sony's lot. I think that's everyone.
Sony, yeah, I think the last one I did at Sony it was like an outdoor Ghostbusters thing.
Yeah.
Well, so yes, we are journalists. Yes,
yeah, we are journalists. This is our. Well, I'm the owner of MUSE TV, so I have no. But I'm also too like I got my journalism degree, communications degree, at Cal State Fullerton. So
I got mine at the University of Texas. So there you go.
Exactly. So we're journalists. We know AP style. We know the legal aspects. We know everything about journalism because we got drilled that into our heads.
And I'm a film critic, and now I'm Tomato Meter approved.
And I own this one. And I just go, I own this bitch.
I worked very hard. I worked very hard for.
Okay. Let me clarify that. Co-own.
Good.
This TV now, because Hannah owns a portion of it.
All right, so we are not quite last 15 minutes to go, but we're nearing 11:50 p.m. our time. For those of you on the East Coast, it'll be 2:50 a.m.
It's early.
So what we like to do at MUSE TV for this is I guess the pre-show discussion. We watch the episode, and when that happens, we're going to put everything on mute and block it out for a little bit, and then we will pick up once we're done watching the episode for the post-episode discussion, where we will go in-depth and talk about the episode and share our thoughts for tonight, because that's how we do it here at MUSE TV. Yep. So thank you for joining us. Yeah, we're going to have fun watching Andor tonight. Did I get everything there, Mike?
Yes, you did. And so after doing it for almost 2 years now, having you do it, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can learn a thing or two. Now, what's this about? It's like every other year I hear something about this Red Sonja movie.
Still?
It's like Millennium.
I'm not holding my breath.
So many permutations. So here's what they're saying. So Hollywood Reporter says Matilda Lutz. So it looks like Matilda Lutz is going to be the Red Sonja, directed by MJ. So it looks like it might finally be happening from Millennium Media. They've been trying to do this one for so long.
No kidding.
Same thing with Conan, but Conan never, ever since the Jason Momoa movie, Conan the Barbarian has a tough go of it. Some new voice actors for Transformers joining the cast.
Movie or cartoon?
the movie, the Transformers: Rise of the Beast. So this is a new live-action movie coming out next year. Michelle Yeoh will voice one of the Maximals, Airazor. Pete Davidson from SNL will voice Mirage from the new movie from director Stephen Caple Jr. Will be set in the 90s, so it'll have Predacons, Maximals, Autobots, and presumably Terracons.
Oh,
I don't know, because it looks like they're bringing in all these factions in. So
let's just bring them all in. Let's just have a big old war.
Yeah. So yeah, they're doing a lot for this movie. So
You've never seen the Insecticons, huh? On the big screen. They've never put the Insecticons on the big screen, did they?
In the Michael Bay movies, not that I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've had like the Seekers. We've had Decepticons, Autobots, Dinobots,
Microbots.
I don't think we've seen the Insecticons.
GoBots.
The who?
That'd be funny. We have GoBots, Microbots.
Technically, Hasbro owns GoBots now. So
I know. It would be interesting to see, but GoBots was like the cheap version of Transformers.
Not really the cheap version. It was another company trying to, get on the whole like transforming robot craze. Yeah. When they were bringing it over to the U.S. Mm-hmm. GoBots actually did sell well for a while, and they had like their own animated cartoon. What was it?
Yeah, I saw it. I had the toys.
Challenge of the GoBots. Mm-hmm. And it actually wasn't too bad because it was animated by Hanna-Barbera. Mm-hmm. So in some ways, I think in some ways the animation for GoBots looked better than Transformers. Mm-hmm. But I think just in terms of like character variety and storytelling, I think people just gravitated toward Transformers more.
Yeah.
I think they both started around the same time.
Yep.
Or they basically 1984. And they were all like trying to get their toys on the shelves, but it was, I think, Transformers that just kind of endured, basically.
Exactly.
There were a lot of those shows coming out in the 1980s, but only like a handful of them really like kind of broke through.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me think, like Transformers. Well, G.I. Joe had technically been around before then, but I guess the 80s version of G.I. Joe. What else?
Yep. But also, too, I had this when I was a kid.
Oh, Thundercats was really good.
I had to share that.
Mobile Command Center.
Yep, I had that when I was a kid.
That is so awesome. You see, the Transformers didn't have like a mobile command center like that. Mm-hmm. You had to get the GoBots toy.
Exactly. Let me get to Slater's comments. Oh, okay, that's dope. Maybe I'll go to school for that because I enjoy the fact y'all get to talk about a lot of films, shows, interviews, etc. I had to stop going to college, help my mom's out financially back then, but now since everything is cool, maybe I can go back. Hey, man, it's always good to go back to school. That's what I say.
Go for it.
Knowledge is power.
If you want to do it, Slater, I say go for it.
Yeah, and there's so many ways where you could pay for it. Financial aid, student loans, grants, things like that. There's money out there to help you go through school. So if you ever trying to get
that student loan forgiveness right now, actually.
Exactly, and it looks like that it's a good time to be a student right now. I'm just saying, I would go back to school right now as well. So, but if you ever need any help with it, Sladro, just message me. I know a couple guys who give financial aid, and also if you want to go to Cal State Fullerton, I can help you with that. So,
all right. So as we get down to like the last 10 minutes here, Mike, anything you're really hoping for to break through on tonight's episode of Andor?
I do want to see the whole heist. I want to see them get in. I want action. I want this payoff right now for this where we're at right now.
And you think we're going to see some character death tonight?
I may agree with you. There's the youngest one is the one who I'm worried about the most.
Nemec.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
worried about
all right. I found the names on StarWars.com. So Vel is the leader. Vel Sartha. Gorn is the Imperial lieutenant who's helping them. Arvil Scheme was like the guy who was suspicious about Andor, who lost his brother, and Cinta is another one of their accompli. She's another one of their members. Seems to have a close relationship with Vel. Like it came off like a romantic relationship. And I think you agreed on that, right?
I agree.
Karis Nemec, I think if one character dies tonight, I think it's going to be Karis Nemec, the kid. If Nemec survives, let's just say this: if he survives tonight, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
If I were to bet money on a character dying tonight, I think it's going to be Nemec, just because like he's young, the horrors of war. He's like inquisitive. He's come up with all this information. He's probably written the Rebel Alliance's manifesto that they will use in the future.
Yeah. So
I imagine like he'll die and then like, oh, we have to make Nemec's memory live on with his writings.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the way they're spelling it out. It feels like a death flag, you know?
Exactly. And I agree with you.
It wouldn't surprise me if Gorn dies, just because he's an Imperial officer. He's dug in there deep, and he's turning against the Empire. So him dying would not surprise me either.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Luthen. If he does die, I don't think he would die until the end of this season, if not later.
Yeah. There's a reason why we haven't seen him afterwards.
I think Cinta. I don't want Cinta to die, but it wouldn't surprise me if Cinta dies. But the only character we actually know for certain is going to live tonight is Andor. Is the only one. That
is true. That is the one constant.
Other than the people who are not on the raid.
Yeah. Agree completely.
But are you liking Cyril?
Cyril, no.
He's the corporate officer who got.
Yeah, he's the bitch. No.
You don't like his mom?
I think his mom is the reason for a lot of the issues that he's going through. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but what do you think of that whole subplot? Because I think it's the worst subplot in the whole show right now.
Like, I think you'll change your mind if it builds up to something that makes sense.
Okay, so looks like Louis Berry is here. Excited for this. Can't wait for the heist and the dinner. Wait, I wonder if Louis is someone we know.
Could it be Louis Lecca?
I mean,
he did good.
Whoever you are, Louis, thanks for joining us tonight. I don't like the stuff with Cyril and his mother. It's just, it's just really.
He's gonna pout.
It's convoluted to me. It's just too much. It's too much. Like I don't need to see those scenes. I don't need to see those scenes with Cyril and his mother to understand Cyril's mindset. And
understand that he's a little bitch.
Whatever. I don't need those scenes, and I just don't. I don't really care about them, and they don't make me more empathetic to him, and they don't make me really want to see more of him.
Yeah.
I kind of really want to just focus more on Andor with the Rebel group. That's what I would rather the show focus on.
Yeah.
Is my but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Camus, you're gonna Karis Nemec, you're gonna die tonight. Let's see.
What the hell am I keep hearing that's beeping? Is that your?
Oh, I think that was my my Facebook notification.
Oh, okay.
Sladro, thank God I took a nap before, so I'll be able to watch the show and come back. Ha ha ha. All right. Let me put that away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I was
was
like.
my,
I'm all looking at my phone, like, what the hell?
yeah, that was my
While you're doing that, Sladro, I felt like he was relevant just that one episode, and that's it. Like now, I don't even care about the dude.
I think his boss seemed like a much more interesting character, really,
Yeah.
because his boss seemed like reasonable, even though he's like in corporate security. He looked like someone who could be reasoned with, despite the fact that he would be subservient to the Empire, and the
Mm-hmm.
Empire is the Empire. Whatever, whatever.
Whatever.
All right. So we got about 5 more minutes to go, and then we will get on Andor episode 6.
So, did you hear Blink 182 is back? Not just kidding.
I saw that. I saw that preview, and like it was like it's like such a juvenile, crude joke.
It's
Whatever.
like times.
Is that like an ongoing thing with Blink 182 is making jokes like that?
Yeah, since I was in high school when they first came out.
I don't even like. All I remember about Blink 182 is they had a song on like the Spider-Man movie soundtrack, and that was like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. They had an album that was "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket." It says enough.
Okay. I mean, look, it's music, you know. Everyone's got their own thing, and you know.
And some of the stuff was funny. Some of the stuff, but also too, it's good to see them back.
But it looks like everyone's excited about, what is this, a new album or a tour?
Yeah, new album and tour.
All right. Well, I mean, look, it looks like their fans are excited. Good for them. I'm glad, Blink 182 fans seem happy and excited. So that's good. And like,
but the one thing I'm just kind of like, they just announced on the same day when we were young in Vegas, and Blink 182 is going to be there. Green Day is going to be there. Rise Against, Sum 41, Simple Plan, Newfound Glory, 30 Seconds to Mars, Less Than Jake, The Return of Something Corporate, Motion City Soundtrack, MXPX, Phoenix TX. It's like a Warped Tour reunion.
You know what? What's impressive to me? That Green Day is still together after all these years, and they're still doing music together.
Same lineup. They never broke up. They still working.
I respect, like, I think the Stones are still working together, right?
Yep. Except they lost a member. They lost a drummer.
Oh. But, like, I respect a band that can, like, really, like, withstand the test of time and, like, really just stay in the thick of it, like, for decades. Because you don't see that too often. Like, the Beatles, how long did the Beatles in, like, their classic grouping, how long did they stay together? Like,
not long. I think
5,
it was like
6 years?
60s that I think it was 5 albums.
They broke up in 69, did they not?
Yeah.
And after that, that was basically it for them.
Yep. Let's check the.
And I'm not saying that to knock the Beatles. I'm just saying, like, when you're a rock group and you're a band and like you have that just kind of lightning in a bottle, it can go very quickly. And
there's a talk of the walk.
How good you have it. All right, we want it. All right, I'm just saying what we saw last week.
Here we go.
With Daredevil. It was not a walk of shame because he didn't feel shame. He was like, he had just had the best night of his life. He was whistling. He was in a good mood. He was saying good morning to that lady. There's no shame there. There's no walk of shame. It's a walk of game. He had pep in his step.
You were here for this last week. What are your thoughts? Pep in his step,
right, Mike? It's not shameful.
Walk of game.
Mike, walk of shame has a negative connotation. Walk of shame implies that something shameful happened. Nothing shameful happened. It was a joyful act. It was two consenting adults having a romantic interlude. There's nothing wrong. There's no shame in that. None. and they had great chemistry, and it happened. All right?
You know, everybody who's watching, join us tomorrow for the She-Hulk Watch Party and After Show, where we're going to continue on this topic of Walk of Shame.
No, it wasn't a walk of shame. All right, so here we go. Let's check. Let's check Star Wars now.
Check the Star Wars. Yes, it's up. The Eye.
Here we go. We'll see you in a bit, folks.
See you in a bit.
All right. That is episode 6 in the episode 6 in the books of Andor, the Eye. So we had the heist, the raid on Aldhani this episode. Characters died, some lived, and we were just waiting. Here he is, Mike.
Some lived, a lot of them died.
Well, a couple of the one character could they have death flagged that kid Nemec any further?
No.
Like, come on, that poor kid. Lewis is not a fan of the show. Here's the good thing about this episode. So they stayed on Aldhani for like the duration of the whole raid, the whole heist,
yeah,
so to speak. So we didn't see Cyril or any of the stuff with any of the other subplots until we left Aldhani after the heist was over. But we didn't see Cyril and his mom this episode. So,
yeah.
So they did. I guess they did succeed. I don't know if they stole all the money they wanted, but I guess they got a good chunk of it. And I guess most of them got away. Vel and Cinta, I guess they got away. Vel got the money. Andor left it with her. Man, Arvel turned out to be a scumbag after all, huh? He turned out to be a scoundrel. Andor made the smart move to just end it right there, you know?
Yep.
Got the whiff of it. He's like, okay, I'm not gonna mess around with this guy. I'm just gonna end him right here. I'm thinking Arvel just like we'll take this kid to the doctor so I can find a way to get the money.
Yeah.
So Arvel was just in this for the money the whole time. He was a scoundrel.
Yeah.
He was not a true believer. Nemec, the kid, he was a true believer, and now he's dead. Vel made it out of there. Cinta made it out of there. So even before the action, like it was a really like a slow burn, like like they lit the fuse and they let the fuse. It's like Mission Impossible when they light the fuse and it's like going through tunnels and stuff before it blows up. Yeah. So it was a really long fuse, and like a Band-Aid ripping off, kind of. Here's my problem with this episode. So Gorn, the lieutenant, who was turning on the Empire, he kind of died unceremoniously, and it was just kind of quick and kind of like not very dramatic. Terramin was a little more dramatic, and so was Nemec, but like I feel like they could have just given a bit more drama when Gorn, the lieutenant, died, you know?
Yeah.
Like even when they killed off what was that other guy, the commandant? When they killed that guy off, I don't know, it's like he's like having a heart attack, and it just felt so minor, you know?
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like a big deal. When Gorn died, it just didn't feel like a big deal. He like got one laser blast, oof. And then same with Terramin, who I think they were trying to have Arvel say like, oh, he might betray us because he's a stormtrooper and all that. But I'm sort of confused. How did he get the money though? He said he wants his cut, so what is he going to do?
He's just going to take the amount of the cut off of the ship and head out.
Okay,
leave the rest with her.
Well, so that kind of concludes this. We're doing like 3 episode parts, 3 episode segments, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah. You kind of pinpoint that.
It just seems to be the way they're going. Like so, the first 3 episodes were like a mini movie. These 3 were like a mini movie. So the first 3 were on.
I guess you could tell them they're kind of like chapters.
Yeah.
each 3 chapters conclude a certain
So
mission.
it's like it's like this season will be like 4 chapters basically.
Yeah.
3, 3, 3, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start a new chapter next week where we'll pick up, and then it's like, okay, so the heist worked. People died, but like Vel got the money, so they got away. They were able to get away, and Andor lives to fight another day, and he has Nemec's manifesto. So Andor is still not in with the rebellion, and he still wants to be on his own. But I imagine that's going to change by the end of the season. I imagine by the end of the season, Andor will probably be a part of the Rebel Alliance or whatever they have going now.
That's why something tells me his sister has something to play with this now.
I think maybe he'll look a little bit more for his sister, and he'll probably get some closure with that before he moves on. So I guess he needs some closure with his sister, his lost sister, before we move on from this.
Yeah. I don't know why I feel like that's the way it's going to end up.
We got.
This episode was good though. I liked it.
So now the ISB is sounding the alarms.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that they had that meeting. So like word is spreading. Like the Empire got their pants pulled down here. They got embarrassed. So this is a big embarrassment for them. So they're going to want to retaliate big time. So how does that happen? What is the ISB going to do? Because now, like, Deidre, what is it?
I think that's what it is. Deidre.
So Deidre tried to basically warn this. So she kind of she's probably going to be a little big in her britches over this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wonder. I don't know where Cyril fits into all this. I don't know if he's going to try to work with the Empire or join up with the Empire to work with Dedra, include her into Andor. But it's just like Andor is like not really part of the Rebel Alliance right now. So.
And I think Cyril is a non-factor in this.
Then why are we seeing him and his mom?
I think that's gonna play into something in the future, but right now it doesn't.
Well,
anything. I
could care less about that right now.
That's why I say I think Deidre has a more important role because Deidre hadn't kind of figured out what it could be.
I think the build up to the heist was good. I just think some of the action beats could have been executed a little bit better.
Yeah. Let me go through the comments really quick while we're doing this. Continue what you were saying.
You're right. I felt like those two guys' deaths were just simple and felt like not as impactful.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I felt. And then it kind of ended like, yes, they're escaping through that kind of like, I don't know what you call that kind of like asteroid phenomenon, that meteorite phenomenon in the atmosphere. It's kind of like a religious event for the Aldani people. But Cinta, it looks like she was able to just walk right out. And I'm trying to think. But like what about all the people she was keeping prisoner?
Yeah.
She kept all those people prisoner. How did she even get off planet? How did she get away?
Who knows?
Especially without a ride. I mean, even with an officer's uniform, like they know her face and they know what she looks like. So
yeah. Well, Sladro, you're right. I felt like those two guys' deaths were just simple and felt like and not as impactful as I thought it would have been.
Well, because they were building those characters up the last 3 episodes, Mm-hmm. Like Goran was like, you could tell how like he was seething underneath all of this. He could not stomach these people anymore, And I thought that was very interesting because this guy was like an Imperial officer who's like, I can't stand these people. These people are the scum of the earth. I can't be around them anymore. I'm going to turn on them. And when the commandant's like, they'll hang you for this, and he's like, 7 years working under you, I deserve worse.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of unceremoniously just blast him, and that's it. Like we don't even get a shot of his body after he gets killed. And I just think that's bad. Like that's bad, like continuity editing. It's bad visual storytelling. Like we at least see, I think we at least get like a look at Terriman after he dies. But I feel like we don't even get a look at Gorn after he died. And I wonder who the director was for this episode.
I thought it was the same director, or is it they have different directors for
They do have different directors throughout the season. So I want to look at who, because I forgot who directed. Okay, 6 was Susanna White. So the last 2 were Dan Gilroy, who I think is Tony Gilroy's brother. Yeah, and look, I'm not putting this all on Susanna White because like some of it's probably just editing and stuff. I just felt like those characters deserved a little bit better. Gorn and Terriman especially, just because we'd spent some time with them. And Gorn was interesting because I like this idea of Imperials who turn on the Empire. You know, it's not so, until like Finn in the sequels. It's not something we really saw much of. You know,
we didn't see it at all. We didn't see it in the original.
We saw it in like it happened in Rebels.
In Rebels, but
yeah,
like in the movie universe.
In the movie universe, there was this whole subplot with Biggs, Luke's friend Biggs. Remember?
Yeah.
But all that footage was cut from the theatrical cut. Like Biggs was like he was an Imperial cadet in the Flight Academy. Luke even wanted to join the Flight Academy at one point, and Biggs is like, "We're defecting. We're gonna join in with the Rebel Alliance. We're defecting from the Empire." So, but it was all very kind of casual. You know, it wasn't like this big dramatic story beat. It was kind of like Luke meeting his buddies, and Biggs is like, "We're gonna leave the Empire," but none of this is in the theatrical cut.
Yeah. So
the fact that we have this officer who cannot stomach the fact that he's working for these people anymore, like his humanity, like he actually has a sense of humanity, like integrity. That's interesting to me. And he was like an interesting character. So to see him die like that was just a little disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you on that.
I just was like, okay, like let him have a bit more of a more impactful death, as Slater said.
Yeah, and I agree with those characters. And I agree with you on that one because like the heart attack was just kind of like really, and then the death, like his death was just like I wish it would have been something different, something more impactful. And I agree with you on that.
I don't even think we see like this kind of like dramatic shot of like I think he gets shot by one blaster shot and then he's down and we never see him again.
Yeah,
it was like it was a bit of a letdown to me.
Yeah. The one thing I did love, I love the visuals in this episode. The visuals
with that
meteor shower type of
meteor shower that looked really good. The chase through the meteor shower looked good.
Exactly. When they were getting into the TIE fighters was a great shot as well. The visuals were really good, and that's the one thing I love. I love the visuals are really good. Yes.
Like the plan that was actually a smart plan. Like, okay, we're going to use this phenomenon as our cover. We're going to do a surgical strike. We're gonna send our 2 like divers in, climb the wall, jam the communications tower. It's like it was a surgical precision strike. They got in, they got out, and it worked. Other than that, they lost. They did lose a few people, and Arvil's scheme was not on the up and up, and it worked out for the most part because they got the money. They got most of the money, and
that's where you see the satisfaction and the payoff in that last scene.
Like it worked. I guess in a way, even Mon Mothma was satisfied because she was kind of she was kind of a part of this operation. Like she had to know this operation was going on, right?
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
And I think to me, there's like some silent satisfaction on her part, like, okay, we struck a blow to the Empire today, that kind of thing. Do you think that's what was going on with her?
Yeah, and that's what it was, is the fact that what they had planned worked.
And then Luthen, of course, he went to his back room and had that kind of satisfactory moment. And I guess the key thing is here is how does Andor fully come over to their side, because he's still not there yet.
Yeah, something tells me there's going to be an incident that happens to him where he goes into that side.
Right.
And that's going to explain why he is a part of the rebel.
And I liked, like, Nemec, they gave that kid Nemec the most impactful death, which I kind of saw coming.
Yeah.
I just wish they didn't I wish they didn't make it so obvious they were going to kill this kid, you know?
Yeah.
Like when they did all that and they took him to the doctor, I was like, oh my God, is he going to live after all? I was almost, I would have been, had he lived, I would have like, okay, after all the death flags, you let the kid live. Like, good job. Okay.
Yep.
They did kill him. And I was like, they made it so obvious they were going to kill this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made me feel, and the fact that they killed him made me feel bad.
Yeah. Sladro, I feel like the Empire does something to his sister and that'll turn him. I agree. And that's where I feel like it's going to go.
We still don't know what happened to his sister. She probably worked at that brothel for a while, but we don't know where she is.
Yeah. But something tells me that's the way it's going to lead. Because that may be a clue.
The way he dealt with Skeen, it reminds me of the way he dealt with that informant in Rogue One. Remember?
Yeah.
He told him about the Death Star. Just couldn't get away with him, so he just got rid of him. You know?
Yeah.
He makes the hard choices. The means, or what's the saying? The ends justify the means, I guess.
Exactly. And that's why I think when you see Rogue One, you hear a lot of the things that he says, you equate him to what the show is. You kind of could see what it's leading to.
But like, why did he let, after all that, like, he killed those two officers in the first episode. He killed this guy. He killed Skeen when he realized that Skeen was a scoundrel and he was about to make off with the money. He did all that just to kind of make a play for the money. All of that. And then and then in Rogue One, he kills off the informant. Why not just kill off Cyril? You know, on what whim did he operate by sparing Cyril? You know, other than plot armor, Cyril has plot armor right now. Why spare Cyril? I don't get it.
Yeah,
like Cyril, like I can kind of see the logic in what Skeen was saying. He's a scoundrel, but like, look, he's just trying to survive. In many ways, he's not much different from Andor. Before he went, Andor was simply honest about what he wanted to do. He wanted to win and walk away. Skeen just wanted the money, and he wanted to disappear.
Yeah,
I can't agree with, like, you know, leaving your friends high and dry and all that. But I can understand, like, you know, in a bad situation like that, just wanting to just disappear somewhere. Just leave it all behind, you know?
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be interesting what these next episodes will lead up to.
So do you think, I guess the question is, by the end of the season, do you think Andor is fully turned over to the Rebel Alliance?
Yes. I think that's when season 2, he'll already be fully into the
Now, do they wait until the end of it?
And that's where KTSO comes in, and that's
Okay.
where it's set up for.
Okay, but do we get K2SO at the end of this season,
No.
or all the
No.
way into next season?
No, not till next season. Well,
Is that
next half of
confirmed,
the
or is that what you think will happen?
No, I think that's what is going to happen.
Okay.
You could see it play out.
And,
They don't
and,
want
and look,
they want to make sure they have enough of because this is just what it looks like. They want to have enough of Andor's backstory to really tell about who he is, what caused him to that,
right.
and then go into those things and the back half lead it up to where he would be at on Rogue One.
Now, all issues aside, this was probably my favorite episode of the series so far, just because of the tension, the way they kind of built up the heist, and the way they started it. And like they were running late, and the visuals, the sets, the props, all of it looks so good.
Yeah.
It's just some editing choices and some writing choices I kind of disagree with, but overall, I think this was my favorite episode. But without all the credits and everything, this was really like an average length TV episode. Because it says 54 minutes, but that's like 10 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
So this was really like a 42, 44 minute TV episode. It's really like a normal TV episode length.
Yeah.
Just without like commercial breaks. So I kind of have an issue here that I think some of these episodes are just too short.
That's always been my issue with some of them. Is that sometimes I think they have to pull things out in order to make them. This one is a different series though that I kind of like wonder.
I get that it's 12 episodes, like they have to do 12 episodes, but some like they have so many characters, but then some of these episodes are short too.
Yeah.
Oh, so since we were arguing about this on the last show, did you see the Super Mario Brothers trailer? Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Chris Pratt as Mario, as the voice of Mario? Because like you were like, he's got to be an Italian. He's got to have the Italian accent.
Well, here's my view. Okay. You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to hear my views on that one. For the She-Hulk White watch party and after show.
Well, Mike, you're gonna leave me hanging. You're gonna leave me hanging on the cliff.
We're gonna leave everybody hanging on the cliff on this one.
Oh man.
Because if you want to hear my thoughts, it's gonna be in the beginning of the She-Hulk watch party and after show.
All right. So here we go. Episode rating, episode 6 of Andor. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10.
I give this one an 8.5 out of 10.
I give it higher.
There's certain things.
I give it higher if they really just nailed those big.
There's certain things in the writing that I was kind of like, oh, I wish it would have changed it a little bit. It was a good episode. I liked the episode. It got me into it.
Yeah.
But
I was really, I like that we stayed with the action all the way up until they were done with the heist, basically.
Yeah.
So we stayed with that group of characters until the mission was done.
Exactly. That's why there's certain things that I would have given it a 9 if it had different changes, but nah. And Sladro gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. So I would have changed it.
Lewis, I think, gave it a 0 out of 10.
Well, Lewis hasn't liked this series at all.
It's fine. Everyone's
because he's boring. Because it's boring to him. But that's the one thing. Like,
look, the show is not perfect. The show is not perfect to me. I think I would, if I was in charge, I would have made a lot of changes. But I think the general premise and the look and visual style they're going for work.
Yeah. I just think, like, for some people, they just want to see a lot of action, constant action, constant.
You see, now this episode, I like the suspense and buildup. It really worked, and all the time we spent with the rebel group on Aldhani was good. It's just like some of those other subplots that are not working. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we gotta wrap it up, though.
Yeah. All right.
Day tomorrow.
All right. So here we go. You can follow me on Twitter at Wheeljack83. Check out my reviews and interviews at 411mania.com. Check out my review of Smile, the #1 movie in America, 2 weeks in a row. And also my review of Marvel's Werewolf by Night, which is streaming now on Disney Plus as well. You can check that out. So please give it a look. And I got some more stuff coming up soon. So please be on the lookout, 411mania.com.
And don't forget, here on MUSE TV, we got an interview with Chloe Grace Moretz and the cast of Peripheral. That's coming to Prime Video on October 21st. You can see Chloe Grace Moretz's interview now on YouTube, the MUSE TV YouTube channel, Amazon Fire TV, coming soon to Roku, 4K HDR. So if you have a 4K HDR set, you get to see it in beautiful, amazing color that is very, very well done, I think, because it's 4K HDR, and I did it. Also, for tomorrow, I will give you my thoughts on Super Mario and all that during the She-Hulk watch party and after show, which, don't forget, that's tomorrow at 11 p.m. tomorrow night, and we'll go into that for the finale of She-Hulk. In addition to that, before we even go into the She-Hulk show, we will discuss the Walk of Shame further on the show tomorrow.
Not a walk of shame.
It's a walk of shame.
No.
But we're going to discuss that even more after episode 8 and what we saw. We'll get into that a little bit more. Jeffrey has his thoughts. We will hear them, and we'll love to hear what everybody says. So for myself and Jeffrey, we'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Have a good day. Have a good morning and afternoon.